Yo, how we doing, everybody? Welcome back to another Outriders video. It's been a long time since we've had one, but with the new Horizon update that was recently released, I have been back into the game making builds and actually having a lot of fun. So if you're looking to get back into the game, definitely now is a really good time to check it out. And if you guys want to try out some new builds, there are new options. As you guys can tell right now by my pyro, I'm wearing the Reforged set. This is not a transmog thing. If we go ahead and look at my inventory, these are not transmogged items. We're actually doing an AP Reforged build. No Acari set needed, which is pretty darn awesome. And it's going to be focusing around Thermal Bomb and also Feed the Flames. And overall, this thing just absolutely decimates mobs. Also, if you guys are playing in a group, you can apply a bunch of debuffs to people as well with your thermal bombs. So it's great for team play and also just great for solo ad clear. But otherwise, if you guys want to come watch us build all of these builds live, we're going to be on Twitch almost every single day, messing around with different builds in this game. So make sure you guys come by and check that out. Otherwise, let's go ahead and jump into this Reforged build. So I guess let's go ahead and get the weapons out of the way first. This is pretty much what I run on almost every single AP build out there. I just think this is the best combo. So first off, we're going to be using the Roaring Umbra. We're going to keep Kinetic Stomp on it and then put on Fortress. Fortress did get changed if you guys haven't played recently. So you are going to need to shoot enemies, but honestly, it's still really, really good. It's a free 30% extra damage. You just have to make sure you go ahead and shoot enemies as you are swapping between your weapons, because you will be swapping to the Anemoi for single target damage just to help clear out some enemies. But otherwise, just make sure you're shooting that. You're going to get the kinetic stomps going. You're going to get Fortress built up. Also, it's going to increase your survivability by quite a bit, because now shots increase your armor and resistance by 5% each, stacking up to 3 times. And then once you're at those 3 stacks, this amount is doubled and you get 30% damage for 10 seconds. So this is great. I actually really do enjoy this change to Fortress. It actually makes it an engaging skill to be using. And then the second weapon that I always use is the Anemoi, and we're going to be keeping Moaning Winds on this. And since Fortress doesn't really apply to it anything anymore unless you are shooting, and we're just using this for weapon swaps, I go ahead and put on Radiation Splash now because it's extra damage and it applies vulnerable. So this is really good to start off on an elite. You're going to get a huge chunk of their health down and also apply vulnerable, and then you can go in with all of your different skills and most likely take them out. And in case you need an extra swap, you guys can go ahead and come back to this a few seconds later. Now the secondary really doesn't matter too much. I don't use it a ton, and also since the Moaning Winds and things like that share their cooldowns now, there's no point of having Moaning Winds on the secondary as well. So one thing I do like to run is just ultimate damage link. It doesn't really matter what weapon you use it on, but I have found pretty good use using ultimate damage link. If I go ahead and just start shooting this into a group of enemies with my thermal bombs and everything on them, this actually shares quite a bit of damage and helps clear out the horde much quicker. But yeah, overall, those weapons are pretty much what I use in every single AP build. But now let's go ahead on to the main part, and that is the armor. So like I said, we are using the Reforged set, actually using it. So the Reforged pieces that you're going to want are the helmet, chest piece, and the pants. So if we take a look at the helmet first, we're going to keep Double Fun on there and then put on True Blast. Obviously, you don't need every mod in the exact same place as I do. Just get all of the different mods that I'm going to be showing here on all of your different pieces of gear, and you'll be good to go. And then otherwise, as we move down to the chest piece, I use Branded for the debuff and also Detonator, so we can spam our overheat much more often. And then for the pants, I like to use Flame Grasper, keep that on there. And then I throw on Captain Hunter so we can get more damage against elites. And then for our gloves and our boots, which are our purples, I like to use Anomaly Power, Status Power, and Cooldown Reduction. Anomaly and Cooldown being the 2 big ones. I definitely recommend you have those. Status Power you can change out for Skill Leech if you want to be a little bit more tanky. It's up to you. Burns aren't our main source of damage here. But for the mods on there, I like to use Fire Frenzy and Master Consumer. And then on my boots, I have Phoenix Force, which actually works now. So this is actually a really good anomaly boost as you guys are spamming your overheats. And then also I'm going to increase the explosion radius of our thermal bombs by 20%. This is actually super noticeable and really helps with your ad clear. Now Reforged did actually receive a change, a part of this new Horizon update. It's actually very nice. So the Reforged helmet now comes with anomaly power on it. So if you guys had one, you're going to go need to find a new one because it has max health before. Now it has anomaly power on it, which is really nice. And also it had long range and now has cooldown, which is super nice. But otherwise, the set bonus for the Reforge actually changed as well. So using Thermal Bomb increases the next damage of Feed the Flames by 75%, and then using Feed the Flames increases the damage of the next Thermal Bomb by 75%. So basically what you're going to be doing is just spamming these 2 abilities to boost each other. Basically, you can put on thermal bomb on an enemy, let them burn for a little bit, and then use feed the flames to go ahead and finish them off. And if they don't die from that, then they're going to be burning and ash, and you can use overheat to detonate them. And overall, it just makes for really nice combos and great ad clear. This change to Reforge really makes it able to kind of compete with the Acari. Acari is still best in my opinion, but it makes it a lot more competitive and usable at CT15. But right here is the complete overview of my gear if you guys want to screenshot that and transfer it into your own game. Now the skills that we're going to be using for this build is obviously feed the flames and thermal bomb, so we can actually use it with our Reforged set. And then finally, I like to use overheat because it is another explosive skill and it's spammable. It's at 5.4 second cooldown with my current setup right now. And overall, you are just spamming these non-stop. This is really good for burst healing. You can stun enemies and also just for detonating those weak targets. Now for the skill tree, I've played around with a couple different ways, and the main two being the current one that I have set up here, and then also one that actually gets rid of hot situation and we get wildfire for more cooldown and just spamming abilities even more. But I found myself liking hot situation and just increasing that anomaly power because we do not have the Acari set, so it is really nice to get that extra 45% anomaly power, and especially since we're spamming it, this is almost always active, which is really nice. And I found when I went the cooldown route, we were spamming more obviously, but we lost a little bit too much damage. So this is my current setup right here. So if you guys want to copy that in your game, this is the one I recommend. Otherwise, I'm just going to show you exactly how I end up playing this build. Most of the time I will just have the Umbra in my hand. I really only swap to the Nimue if I really need to burst down an elite target or just kill a huge group like that. Either or, doesn't really matter. But otherwise, just get in close. Make sure you are meleeing enemies as well. It's going to help you stay alive, also burn them, and just deal a lot of extra damage. So it really does help to actually be meleeing. Otherwise, don't be using your overheats and stuff too soon, because this will actually stop the burn, and the burns do a pretty darn good amount of damage. So make sure they get to a point to where your overheat will kill them. So just go ahead and you guys will learn kind of the amounts of health that enemies can have left to do this. But otherwise, just make sure you keep shooting your Umbra so you can keep Fortress up and help your survivability and also your damage. And then otherwise right here, you're about to see the ad clear out of this build. And right there, everything is just getting nuked. We did over a mil with just that one thermal bomb. I've seen upwards of about 3+ mil. Otherwise, I'm just going to show you exactly how I end up playing this build. Most of the time, I will just have the Umbra in my hand. I really only swap to the Nimue if I really need to burst down an elite target or just kill a huge group like that. Either or, doesn't really matter. But otherwise, just get in close. Make sure you are meleeing enemies as well. It's going to help you stay alive, also burn them, and just deal a lot of extra damage. So it really does help to actually be meleeing. Otherwise, don't be using your overheats and stuff too soon, because this will actually stop the burn, and the burns do a pretty darn good amount of damage. So make sure they get to a point to where your overheat will kill them. So just go ahead and you guys will learn kind of the amounts of health that enemies can have left to do this. But otherwise, just make sure you keep shooting your Umbra so you can keep Fortress up and help your survivability and also your damage. And then otherwise right here, you're about to see the ad clear out of this build. And right there, everything is just getting nuked. We did over a mil with just that one thermal bomb. I've seen upwards of about 3+ mil per thermal bomb, which is pretty gross if you get your combos right on the right debuffs and all that kind of stuff. Per thermal bomb, which is pretty gross if you get your combos right on the right debuffs and all that kind of stuff. Now, one other note as you guys are playing this build, after you do a feed the flames, don't hit your overheat right away. For whatever reason, it doesn't like have the ash apply to the enemy right away, even though it says it does, and it just won't end up getting consumed by overheat. So you end up just doing no damage and absolutely wasting your overheat. So it's a little weird. It's something you'll get used to, but just give it a second before you do your overheat on a feed the flames target. But yeah, overall, this Reforged build is a ton of fun. Like I said, it's very nice to be using AP builds that don't rely on Acari. It's very nice to just swap some things up. So it's been really, really nice to just be using like feed the flames and thermal bomb, things that I don't really use too much. Thermal bomb I do use, but feed the flames I almost never use. And then just the whole combination of the three is really nice. But hopefully you guys do have fun with this build. Give it a go. It's going to be really helpful for ad clear and also some co-op play with all of the debuffs. So don't be afraid to give it a go, whether you're playing solo or in co-op. If you guys did enjoy the build, make sure to leave a thumbs up on the video to let me know. It really does help me out. Also consider subscribing for more Outriders content. I have been having a ton of fun fun with the new Horizon update. There's still some more builds that I want to be working on, so make sure you guys are here for that. But anyways, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya.